Today we see about archivelog management. So we all know, like, each time the user tries to perform input or output operations, they always go through SGA, correct? And the major components of SGA were, can you tell me the major components of SGA or the mandatory components of SGA? Database buffer cache, shade pool, and
log buffer.
yeah. So these are the three main components or the mandatory components of the SGA. And you already know, for each and every transaction the user performs, there'll be associated redo entry in the redo log buffer, such that this redo entry will be used whenever there is any power failure or whenever there is any media failure. Correct or not? And you already know, the log writer process will write the content from redo log buffer to redo log files, and redo log files will always be present in groups, and each member, each file in the group is called as a member. Now, as you already know, the log writer will first start writing, it will first point to the first redo log file, and it will start writing the redo content from redo log buffer to the physical file. Once the file is filled, it will perform a log switch and it will move to the next file. And similar way, it will try to write the content to the second redo log member or redo log group, and then once it is filled, it will perform a log switch and again it will start writing. Now, before overwriting the content, once the third redo log group is filled, the log writer should again point to the first redo log group. So if you don't want the redo log file to be overwritten by log writer, if you want to archive the content of this redo log file before the log writer overwrite the content, if you want to archive the content of the redo log file, we have to enable archivelog. So we need to enable archivelog mode in the database. So in order to check whether the database is in archivelog mode or not, we'll use a command archivelog list. This is a command which will show you whether the database is in archivelog mode or not, and also to which location it should archive the content of redo log files. So there should be some physical location where it has to write the files, right? So once the redo log file, once the log writer trying to again point back to the redo log group 1, archiver should archive the content, whatever the content present in the redo log file. The archiver background process should start writing it to another physical set of or to another physical location, which is called as archivelog destination, and each file in the archivelog destination will be called as archivelog files. Okay. Now, so which process will write the content? ARCH is a process which will write the content from redo log files to the archivelog files. So in order to determine to which location the archivelog files should go, there is a parameter called as log underscore archive underscore dest underscore 1. So this is a parameter which will determine the location of archivelog files. Log archive dest 1. Okay. So now we'll see how to enable the archivelog mode. Okay. I set the environment to demo. So just to cross check, I'm doing echo $archive_sid. Okay, the output is set to demo. That means the instance name is set to demo. I'll connect to the demo database, and first I will check whether the archivelog mode is enabled in the database or not. So as already said, archivelog list is the command which will show you whether archivelog mode is enabled or not. So if you see here in the output, it says the database log mode is in no archive mode, automatic archival disabled, and archival destination is set to Oracle home followed by DBS ARCH. So even though archivelog destination is set to a physical location, as the archivelog mode is not enabled, readlog files will not be returned to the archivelog destination. We need to enable the archivelog mode. Then only it will go to the physical location. So even if you set archival destination, it will not archive the content of readlog files. You need to enable the archivelog mode. Okay, so if you see here our database log mode, it says no archive mode. So it's not mandatory that the database should be in archivelog mode. If you don't want the redo content to be overwritten, if you want to save it somewhere else, in that case you need to enable the archivelog mode. So now right now I want to enable the archivelog mode, as well as I want to change the archivelog destination. I don't want it to go to Oracle home location. I want it to go to /backup. So I have another mount point called as /backup. Here I'll create a folder with the name demo, and within this folder my archivelog files will be written by the ARCH process. So I have to set archivelog destination, as well as I have to enable the archivelog mode. Okay, now so to enable the archivelog destination, as I said, the parameter is log underscore archive underscore dest underscore 1. So this is the parameter which will show you the destination of the archivelog files. So if you see here, the value is set to null. Correct or not? So whenever the archivelog destination is set to null, by default it will go to Oracle home dbs/arch. The reason for that is, okay, by default it will go to Oracle home dbs. The Oracle set the parameter like that. Now I want to change it to /backup/demo. So in order to change the parameter, what command should I use?
What is the question again?
I want to change log underscore archive underscore dest underscore 1 parameter. Right now it is set to null. I want to change it to a different value. So what is the command to set to change the parameter value?
Export.
Export is for the variable, right?
Variable. Yeah.
This is the parameter in the database, in the parameter file. Alter system set is a command which we'll use in order to change a value for a parameter.
Yeah. Sir.
So can I do alter system set log underscore archive underscore dest underscore 1 equal to /backup/demo. Can I issue this command in order to change the archivelog destination?
But I mean, currently we are using P file, right? We are not using SP file.
Yeah. So can we change using alter system set or not?
No.
Are you
Just
sure?
we can go to the P file and just we can.
No. You can set the parameter value like this /backup/demo. Even though you are using parameter file, you can set a parameter using alter system set. But the problem is it will only set for the memory level. That means it will set only for the current instance.
Okay.
The change will not be written back to the P file. As a result, once you bounce the database, the change will go back to the initial value. So we'll go ahead and issue this command and we'll see what happens. See, I was able to change the parameter, but the thing is like it will not write the content. It will not write the change into the P file. The effect will be only for the current instance. This is another difference between a P file and an SP file. If you have a SP file, you can directly you issue this command and the change will be affected in the SP file also. But if you are using a P file, you need to modify the P file manually. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, the archive destination is set to location / backup demo. But I need to make sure once I bounce the database, the change should be reflected in the P file also. So I'll go to the DBS location and I will modify the P file.
Yeah.
Init demo.ora. So this is how you have to change the archivelog destination parameter. So alter system set log archive dash1 is equal to, within a single quotes you have to specify location equal to / backup / demo. Okay, you have to use this location equal to clause. You cannot set directly the location because there are several other options available with archivelog destination that you will be seeing in the feature classes. There should not be semicolon. Okay. Now, again I'll issue the command archive log list. If you see here, still the archivelog mode is not enabled. We need to enable the archivelog mode. Apart from that, we were able to successfully change the archivelog destination. The archive destination is now set to / backup / demo. But still the archivelog files, I mean like the content of the readlog files will not be archived as the database is in no archivelog mode. We need to enable archivelog mode. Now, to enable the archivelog mode, the database must be in mount mode. Okay, this is the first criteria to enable the archivelog mode. The database must be in mount mode. So right now, my database is in open mode. Correct or not?
Yeah.
So how to check that? How to check whether my database is in open mode or not?
Status from Vita registration.
Yeah. Okay. So my database is in open mode. Now, in order to enable the archivelog mode, the database must be in mount mode. So is there any command which when I go back from open mode to mount mode?
No, I mean directly we have to shut down the server and
Yes.
we have to restart it. Yeah.
We need to shut it down and need to start up in mount mode. That is the only option available. So we need to issue shut immediate. Startup mount. Alter database archivelog. This is a command which will enable the archivelog mode. Now issue the command alter database open. Now if I do archivelog list again, see the database is in archivelog mode. Before it was no archive mode. Now it is changed to archive mode. So this is how we need to enable the archivelog mode.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Now that guy asked the question, right? If we kill the archive process, what will happen?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
Did you try it?
No, Mohan.
Okay, what is the command to check the background process?
PS minus here.
Grep or underscore.
Yeah.
Okay. So now if you see here, there are 4. ARCH is a process actually. ARC is a background process which will archive the content from readlog file to the physical files. I mean like from readlog files to the archivelog files. Now, so by default there are 4 archive processes started. Once you enable the archivelog mode, by default 4 archive processes are started. Let us go ahead and kill 4 of them. Okay. So to kill a process at Unix level, we use a command kill -9 space process ID. and process ID is the second column, you should remember.
Yeah.
4888 4890. So these are the processes 4886 8888 90, and there is also one more process 84 4884. Okay, I'm killing those process now. Minus ef cap or underscore. The process is not existing, right? ARCH
Mm.
process is not existing, correct or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still my database is up and running. Let me go and connect to the database. We'll see whether I'll be able to connect to the database or not. I'm able to connect to the database. Let me try to create a table inside the Scott schema and we'll see what happens. Okay.
But still the archiving process is enabled, right, for the database?
Yeah, archivelog, yeah, that mode will be enabled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I was able to create the table too, correct? And let me issue the command archivelog list. It's in enable mode. Okay.
Okay.
Now let me check. Okay, if within the SQL Plus, if you want to execute any Unix commands, we'll use exclamatory mark. Okay.
Yeah.
Still, ARCH process is not running. Correct. Now,
Yeah.
let me archive the content from the redo log files. If you want to manually archive the content from the redo log files, the command is alter system archivelog current. So this command, what it does is, what are the states available with $log? I mean, redo log files will be in what status? What are the various states the redo log files will be in?
4 states.
Okay, name them.
Like active, expired, unexpired, and free.
No, wrong. That is undo.
Oh, okay.
The redo log files will be in active, current, inactive.
Okay. Yeah.
Active means it is required for instance recovery. I told you already. Current means the log writer is currently writing to the redo log files. Inactive means the content is no longer required for instance recovery. Now, I issue the command alter system log current. That means archive the content which is present in the current redo log file. So what this command does, it will archive the content in the current redo log file, and also it will perform a redo log switch such that the log writer will point to the next redo log group. Okay, this command archives the current redo log file as well as it will perform a log switch to the next available redo log group. Okay, I was able to archive the content too. Now, if I do ps minus ef grep or underscore, my ARCH process will be started. See, my ARC process has started. So Oracle automatically starts the archive process. So even if you kill ARC process, nothing will happen to the database. Automatically, the process will be restarted. Any questions?
No more. Yeah.
So this is how we need to enable the archivelogs, archivelog destination and archivelog mode. Okay.
Okay.
Now, till now I used to tell you, like, if you want to connect to the database, the first thing what is required? You require port number, DB name,
Host name, yeah, IP address.
IP address, username and password, right? And once you give the details, to which process it will go, the request will go to which process. Once you give all these details and you are trying to connect to the database, which will create a server process on behalf of the user. listener process. LSNR, listener
Yeah.
process will continuously listen to the incoming connections from the users. So
Okay.
this is the listener process which will listen the incoming connection information. It will validate the information and it will create a server process on behalf of the client. Correct?
Yeah.
So in order to connect to the database from a remote machine, what is the first thing you require? The database should be up and running, and the second thing is listener should be up and running.
Yeah.
So there should be listener process up and running on the database in order for the users to connect to the database. Correct or not?
Yeah.
So in order to check whether the listener is up and running, what is the command? Did I told you about that?
I mean, listener status, LSNR serial status.
Did I told you or?
Yeah, you told that. I
Okay.
mean, you told that. I mean, how to start the listener, and you told that.
Okay. So in that case, I would have told you the Unix command also. Apart from lsnrctl status, I also told you some of the ps-f something to check the listener is up and running or not. So ps-f grep tns. This is a command which will show you whether the listener process is up and running or not.
Okay.
So if you see here, my output doesn't, it did not return anything except apart from my command, it didn't return anything. So that means the listener is not up and running. Now, where the listener file will be present?
Listener,
Okay, forget about listener file. Where the tns-name.tora file will be present? This one I told you.
yeah.
$oracle_home followed by network admin. So these are the two locations you need to remember always. The P file will be present in $oracle_home followed by DBS, and listener file TNS names files will be present under Oracle home followed by network admin. You should remember this. You should never forget. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. What does this command mean? Can anyone of you tell me? cd space / network / admin. Any guess what this command does?
We'll move to that folder, right? Like admin folder, network admin folder.
Yeah, but what does the ... means? Why I'm giving ... there?
So if you are in different location, like if
What does ... represents in Unix? What is dot and what is ... Back to Unix basics.
parent parent folder.
It goes back to the original, root.
Dot means current directory.
Mm-hmm.
Dot means parent directory.
Yeah.
Oh.
You should use the technology terms. You cannot use your own words. Try to remember them.
Okay.
Dot means current directory. Dot means parent directory. So what is happening if I do cd ... it is going one level up. That means from DBS I'll just go to Oracle home. Right now I'm in Oracle home followed by DBS location. By using cd space ... it will go to the Oracle home. After that I want to go to network admin, right? So I'm giving both of them at the same step. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Forget about the listener. Okay, yeah. Okay, if you see here, I don't have any listener file. So listener file will be of the name listener.ora. So this will be the listener file name. Like in any of the database server, the listener file will be of this name, listener.ora. Okay. Now, if you see here, I don't have the listener.ora file. That means I have to create a listener. In order to create a listener, we'll use a command or utility called as netca, network configuration assistant. I'm not sure whether I told you or not. So using this configuration assistant, we'll create the listener. Okay. NetCA stands for Network Configuration Assistant.
Okay.
Okay. Now it will give you several options: naming method, configuration, local net service name, and directory usage. We'll just use the listener configuration and then click on next. Okay. We are trying to create a new listener, so you need to click on add and then click on next. Okay. What should be your listener name? You can give whatever name you want. I want to give it as listener_db. Next. Okay, what type of protocol, using which type of protocol you are trying to connect to the database? So usually we'll connect to the database using TCP protocol. So we'll only select the TCP protocol and just we'll click on next. Okay, so by default listener will be running on port 1521. Okay, whenever you create a listener, by default it will run on port 1521. If you want to change the port number, you can do that using use another port number, and you can specify the port number here. So I want to go for 1522. I don't want to go for 1521. I want to go for 1522. Okay. From 1521 to 65535. These are the port numbers which are allowed for the listener process. So you can use any port number starting from 1521 to 65535. So in that I'm using 1522 and then click on next. Okay, I'll do one thing, 1524. Click on next. I created a listener with use another port. The information provided for the listener is currently used by the other software on this computer. You can proceed with this configuration, but it will not be able to stop. This is all. Okay, I'll just click on yes. Click on next. Click on finish. Okay. Now, if I want to check the status of the listener, I'll do ps-cf grep tns. Okay. Still the listener is not running. Okay. Now I'll do ls-ltr. I have the file called as listener.ora. Listener.ora file is created. So using netca, whenever you configure a listener, by default a listener.ora file will be created under Oracle Home followed by network admin. And if you want to see the content of listener.ora, I'll do just cat listener.ora, and you can see what is the information registered into that. So first it will have the listener name followed by description list, and within the description list you will have the address, which is the protocol combined with the host name. So protocol is TCP, that's what we selected while configuring the listener, and the host name is test.4techbiz.com, correct? And then the port number is 1524. So this is how a listener will be created. Once you configure the listener using netca, a file called as listener.ora will be created, and it will have all the details you provided while configuring the listener. Now, okay. Okay, so see here, my IP address is 192.168.1.70, correct or not? This is my IP address.
Yeah.
Now there is a file called as etc hosts in Linux. There is a file called as etc hosts. It will have the host name along with the IP address. It is actually a static file. You can edit whenever you want. Just for practice purpose. In the real time, we'll not use the /etc/hosts. There will be a DNS server where they will configure the names and the IP address. Here, as we don't have that one, we'll just use /etc/hosts. So in /etc/hosts, test.4techbiz.com is pointing to a different IP address, which is 192.168.1.107, and that is the reason why my listener was not started. Okay, so I need to edit that entry and I need to modify the IP address from 107 to 70.
Okay.
And this file you can only edit as a root user. $70, right? Give me 2 minutes. Okay, now as I edit the etc host file, it's 70. Let us go ahead and start the listener. So in order to start the listener, we need to log in back as Oracle user. So I'll use .or-inv and set the environment to demo. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in order to start the listener, the command will be lsnrctl start listener underscore db. This is my listener name. So we have to use lsnrctl start listener underscore listener name.
Okay.
If you see here, it is not supporting any services. So it should support the service. I mean, like, you'll give the port number, host name, as well as you'll give the database name, right? If you want to connect to the database. The database name which you provide is not registered with the listener yet. So that is the reason why it is showing us it is supporting no services. So you need to register the service name into the listener. So in order to register that, there is a parameter called as local underscore listener. This is a parameter we need to set it up in order to register the database to the listener. So
Okay.
I'll again use the alter system set local underscore listener equal to okay, and to change the effect permanently, I have to edit in the P file also.
Yeah.
Okay, forgot to tell you, the local listener will just get the description part from the listener file or from the status, and we'll just add it into the, we'll set that value into the parameter. Okay, we can get the description list either from listener.org file or from the listener status.
Okay.
This description list needs to be added into the local listener parameter. Yeah, I'll make all this next time. So even here, the description part will be same. So you can just copy it from here or from the status. Now if I check the status of the listener again, now it is supporting the service demo. Okay, this is how we have to register the database into the listener file. We need to set local underscore listener parameter. Not only that, there is another parameter called as service underscore names. Show parameter service underscore names. So usually this parameter, whatever the value present in this parameter, the background process pmon will automatically register the service name. Whatever the value present in this parameter, it will register that name into the listener. So basically you need to set two parameters. One is local underscore listener and the other one is service underscore names. And usually the service underscore names will set it to the database name. Now, for example, if I modify the service underscore names equal to demo1, if I check the status of the listener again, see the demo1 is also registered. So automatically whatever the value present in the service underscore names, Pman process will go ahead and register that into the listener. Now that means as the listener is supporting demo as well as demo 1, using the any client, I can connect to the database using demo or using demo 1. Even though I have only one database called as demo, but as there are two services configured with that database, I can connect using either of the service names. Is it clear?
Service name means listener name, right? Yeah.
No. Listener name is different. Here the listener name is listener underscore DB actually.
Okay.
Service name is nothing but by using which by using which service you'll connect to the database.
Okay. I mean, how we can do that service like?
Yeah, you can give whatever name you want, but it should be a meaningful one. So
Okay.
usually in the standalone we'll go for the database name. The service name will
Okay.
we'll set it to the database name. But if you want a different service name, you can also set it up.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay, I'll just click on the connection. Here, if you see here, there are two options. Either you can connect with SID name or you can
Okay.
connect with the service name. The SID name will usually give, you can either connect to the database using both of these, SID or the service name. But in the real time, we'll always use service name. We'll never use the SID name. So I'll go ahead and give the service name as demo1 Scott Tiger test. Okay, the local host I have to set it to 192.168.1.70. Okay, the port number is 1524. Okay, now the status is success. Connect.
Okay.
Just give some name. Now if I do select name from VDAL database, what will be my database name? Demo or demo1?
Demo.
Yeah. So service name is different, database name is different.
Yeah.
So you can configure whatever service name you want. But as I connected to database using Scott user, he will not have access to VDAL database.
Yes.
So I can just do def. Maybe this works, I don't know. I'll see. No, it's not working. We can just do select sys underscore context. I guess I told you this one. Did I?
I think no.
Okay. Just, if I would have logged in with this user, I would have got the database name as demo.
Okay.
Is there any, do you have any doubts with the listener? How to configure the listener and how to set those parameters?
No.
Even without graphical user interface, is the process same for listener?
Yes, no. If you don't have any graphical user, అర్థం కాలేదు నీకు మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి చెప్పు.
అదే మనం బయట నుంచి ఇక్కడ రిమోట్ కనెక్ట్ చేస్తుంటే అప్పుడు కూడా సేమ్ ఉంటుందా అంటే?
Yeah, same untadi, but the only difference is you'll not have that option. So what you have to do, you'll go to the command prompt, we'll issue the command sql plus scott/tiger @ the connection string name. For example, I'll give the connection string name as demo. And remember, this connection string entry will be present in tns names.ora. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this file, the demo connection string should be in Oracle home followed by network admin. That is, it should be present in the client machine, not in the server machine. That means in the Windows machine itself, I can install Oracle client, and that Oracle client will have a Oracle home. And within the Oracle home, you'll have a folder called as network followed by admin. Within that folder, you have to create a file called as tnsnames.ora, and you need to have that entry with the demo, and then you have to specify the host name, the port number, and the service name using which you connect to the database.
బట్ మనకి ఐ మీన్ అంటే జనరల్ గా లిజనర్ మనం ఇలా క్రియేట్ చేసే ప్రాసెస్ ఏమి ఉండదు కదండి. జస్ట్ ఏంటంటే డేటాబేస్ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్ యూజ్ చేసి డేటాబేస్ క్రియేట్ చేసినప్పుడు అది ఆటోమేటిక్ గా ఇన్స్టాల్ అయిపోతుంది లిజనర్ కూడా.
Yes, కానీ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అన్నది.
ఓకే, జస్ట్ నేను అడుగుతున్నాను అంటే
కరెక్ట్ మీరు అన్నది నేను ఒప్పుకుంటాను, కానీ ఇది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అనమాట. అంటే దీనివల్ల మీకు చాలా ఇష్యూస్ వస్తుంటాయి. యాక్చువల్గా ఇది చాలా అర్థం అవ్వాలి మీకు ఇంకా.
ఓకే, యా దట్స్ ఫైన్.
Right now, I have one listener which is running on port 1524, and it is supporting the service demo or demo 1, whatever it may be. Now my question is, can I want to create another listener on the same port. So I'll invoke netca. Okay, first I'll invoke netca.
Okay.
And I'll give the listener name as listener_db3. Okay.
Okay.
I'll specify the same port number 1524. Click on next. It will give me error saying that the information provided for the listener is currently in use by another listener on this computer. You cannot you can proceed with the configuration, but the listener will not be started. So you can create multiple listeners on the same port, but both the listeners cannot run at the same time. Only one of the listener can run. If you configure bunch of listeners on the same port, within that bunch of listeners only one listener you can start it up, but not all the listeners.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Next, can I have multiple listeners with a different port number running, and it should support both the data, both the listeners should support the service demo. So in that case, I'll create a listener on port 1522. The listener name is listener_db1, db1 1522. Next. Okay, now there is no problem. I start the listener_db3. I don't have any issues, and both the listeners are running. See here, just click on next, click on next, click on finish. Now if I do ps-cf grep tns, two listeners are running. One is listener_db and the other one is listener_db3.
Okay.
Now if I do lsnrctl status listener_db, we can see it is supporting the service demo 1 as well as demo. Now if I check the status of listener_db3, will it support the service or not? Any guess?
I think it will not support.
Yes, because we haven't registered this listener for the database yet. So if you see here, it is not supporting any services. So what I have to do in order to set or in order to register this listener also into the database, I have to set local underscore listener parameter only.
Yeah.
I need to give the multiple values. Alter system set local underscore listener equal to probably comma. Let us check it out.
Oh. You have to, okay.
Because we need to register both the listeners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. C slash comma slash space. Okay. Probably we need to close this one. Comma. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Let us check.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. So these are we can register multiple listeners into the for the same database. Now
Okay.
I'll go ahead and do listen underscore db3. It is supporting the demo one too. So we can have multiple listeners supporting the same database.
But at a time, key file also we need to update. Right?
Yeah,
Key
of
file
course.
we need to-
Yeah, that we need to
Oh.
update. But the thing is like
Okay.
you can have multiple listeners for the same database.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Next, you cannot have multiple listeners running on the same port.
Yeah.
Next thing, in the same server, I have another database called as test. Okay,
Okay.
dot or env test. I'll connect to the database called as test now. I'll start it up. Okay. Can I have only one listener supporting both the databases? The next thing is, can I have one listener supporting both the databases?
Two database. Okay.
చూడు session long ఒకసారి చూడు తెలుస్తుంది progress. Okay. Now I do show parameter on this database. I'll do show parameter local underscore listener. Okay. The local listener is not set to anything. So let me register this database into the same listener. Alter system set local underscore listener equal to single quotes. I'm registering it to only into the one listener underscore db. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Once this is done, lsnrctl status listener underscore db. So you can have only one listener supporting both the databases. So that means if you have n number of databases running on the same server, you can have just one listener which is supporting all the services.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
And in order to stop the listener, we'll use the command lsnrctl stop listener name. So if I want to stop listener underscore db3, I can just do lsnrctl stop listener underscore db3.
Okay.
Now, for example, if I want to modify the content of the listener, if I want to reconfigure the listener, I can also just go ahead and edit the listener.ora file. Listener underscore db3 is there. I want to change the port number from 1522 to 1523. I can just go ahead and edit the file and then save and exit, and I can start back the listener again. That's it. But it will not support any services because the port number is different now.
Okay.
We need to make the change effect in the database also. Now let me go ahead and change the listener file. Right now the listener is up and running. While the listener is up and running, I'm making the change 1523 to 1524 and then save and exit. Now will the status changes or it will be the same?
Change.
Sorry, listener underscore db3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. Let me change that back to 1520. 1523. We gave 1523, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So initially it was 1521. I'm changing it to 1520. Yeah, I'm changing it to 1522 or 23.
22 నుంచి 23 చేంజ్ చేశారా?
లేదు అంటే నేను ఫస్ట్ లిజనర్ క్రియేట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏముండే అంటున్నా 22. Okay. Now I'm changing it to 1523.
ఓకే.
If I do LSNR CTL status.
24 చేశారు అట్లా మళ్ళీ.
లేదు సరిపోయింది. Yeah. Okay. Still it's showing 1523.
Okay.
Okay. Now the port is 1523 and the listener is running on the port 1523. I'll modify the content of listener from 1523 to 1522.
Okay.
I'll check the listener status again. Still it shows up. Okay. Now if I do listener status, what it is showing? It says the listener is not up and running. It says protocol adapter error, no listener, connection refused. The reason for this is whenever you issue this LSNR CTL status listener name, it will go to listener.ora file. It will read the content, it will read the host name, and it will read the port number, and it will check whether a listener is running on that port number or not. Now as the port number is changed from 1523 to 1522,
Okay.
it says no listener, even though my listener underscore db3 is up and running. If I do ps -f grep tns, we can see listener underscore db3 is running, but still it says no listener. The reason for that is the content in the listener.ora file is changed, and that is the reason why it is checking for the listener on port 1522 instead of port 1523.
Okay.
So in this case we have to kill that listener and we need to restart the listener again. So I have to do kill -9 6518 and I have to start it up again. So whenever the listener is up and running and you make a change, you need to kill that listener and you need to start it up again, or else before only you need to stop it manually.
Okay.
ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయి ఇప్పటి వరకు?
ఏం లేవండి.
Now I'll show you various options available with the shutdown. So in order to bring down the database, you have several options. One of them is normal, second is transactional, third is immediate, fourth is about. These are the 4 options available with the shutdown. So if you want to bring down the database, you can either issue shutdown normal, transactional, shutdown transactional, shutdown immediate, or shutdown about. So you need to know what is the difference between all these four options. So in the real time, we always use shutdown immediate. We'll not use either of the rest of the three options. We'll never use it. In most of the cases, we'll never use the rest of the three options. So most of the times we'll be using shutdown immediate. Now we'll see what is the difference between all those things. So if you issue shutdown normal, it will wait for the current users to disconnect. So it will not try to bring down the database until all the users logged out from the database. ఒక 400 users connect అయ్యారు అనుకోండి database కి, it will wait. All those 400 users should manually disconnect. They themselves should disconnect. Oracle will not do anything. Until then it will wait.
Okay. But
So,
one person ఉన్నా కానీ ఇంకా అది automatically
it will never shut down. So once all the users are disconnected, then it will shut down. While in the process of shutting down the database, it will issue checkpoint.
Okay.
As a result, it will make the data files and control file in sync. And that is the reason why once you issue shutdown normal, and after that if you issue startup, there is no need for instance recovery, because
Okay.
all the files are in sync and there is no need for performing any recovery. Okay.
Okay.
Next is transactional, and that is the reason why we'll never use the normal option, because it has to wait until all the users disconnect,
Okay.
which will never happen.
Okay.
The second option is shutdown transactional. In this case, it will not wait for the current users to disconnect, but it will wait for the current transactions to complete. Current transaction means inserts, updates, or any DDL statements running against the database. So it will wait for all those transactions to complete. So if the user is performing an insert or update, it will wait for the transaction. And even in that, even this one will never happen in the real time,
Okay.
because all the time the transactions will be running on the database. Next, it will also issue checkpoint. Okay, this is the flow. When this is the flow Oracle will follow whenever you issue shutdown transaction. The third option is shutdown immediate. So in this case, it will not wait for the current users and also for the current transactions. The current transactions will be rolled back, and it will issue checkpoint. So, and this is the reason why we'll use shutdown immediate all the time, because it will not wait for the current users and also for the current transactions. And also there is no need for performing the instance recovery after the bounce. The fourth option is shutdown normal. Shutdown abort. So in this case, it will not for the current users, it will not wait for the current users, as well as it will not wait for the current transactions. Not only that, it will not issue the checkpoint. As a result, after the bounce, instance recovery needs to be performed. Okay.
Okay.
ఇప్పటివరకు ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయండి?
అంటే ఈ అబ్బాయి షట్ డౌన్ అబ్బాట్ ఉంది కదండి, అది ఏ సిచ్యువేషన్ మనం యూజ్ చేయగలం?
Yeah, whenever the database is whenever it is not allowed, I mean like it is not allowing you to do anything, in that case you have to go for shutdown about. Shutdown immediate పని చేయకపోతే the last option will go for shutdown about.
అండ్ షట్ డౌన్ ఇమీడియట్ పనిచేయని కేసు కూడా
Cases లో shutdown about. Yeah. ఏ ఆప్షన్ మీకు లేదు అంటే షట్డౌన్ ఇమీడియట్ కూడా పని చేయట్లేదు, ఇన్ దాట్ కేస్ విల్ గో ఫర్ షట్డౌన్ అబౌట్. ఇట్స్ లైక్ జస్ట్ కిల్లింగ్ ఆల్ ద ప్రాసెస్. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు పర్ఫార్మింగ్ కిల్ -9 S1 ప్రాసెస్, S1 ఆర్ P1. S1 P1 కిల్ చేసి డేటాబేస్ డౌన్ అయిపోతుంది. యా ఓకే అండి. Okay then I'll wind up the class and I'll continue tomorrow.
Repeat it, Mohan. Repeat it.
Morning 9 okay na?
మార్నింగ్ 9
నాకైతే ఓకే, శివాకి ఓకే అంటే
మార్నింగ్ 9 ఓకేనండి.
Okay then yeah I'll take
ఓకే.
yeah okay then see you at 9.
ఒక్క నిమిషం నేను మళ్ళీ కన్ఫర్మ్ చేయొచ్చా టైం?
యా షూర్. నేను ఇందాక ఈమెయిల్ పెట్టా కదా, దానికి రిప్లై చేయండి మీరు.
యా సరే అండి. మార్నింగ్ అని ఈవినింగ్ అని నేను కన్ఫర్మ్ చేస్తాను, ఒక 10 minutes కన్ఫర్మ్ చేస్తాను.
ఓకే అండి. యా బాయ్ దెన్. బాయ్.
బాయ్.